It's your boy DZ, man. Hit that like button and subscribe to the channel because we are growing. And share this video. This video here is going to be a good one. I'm going to give out some valuable information on this video. And it's a life lesson. A Virginia mom, her son took it upon himself to go into her purse and take a gun out that she had registered, and he took it to school and he shot his teacher. Now, we understand that kids at that age, they know right from wrong, but sometimes if the fear of a parent not disciplining them is not there, they'll go to some great lengths to do some things that they shouldn't do. And as a parent, you should never expose your kid to you having your firearm. And when you smoke weed around your kid observes how you are when you're high and when you're not high. Kids pay attention to that. So they're going to notice how you act when you high, because you're going to be more relaxed and more lenient than when you're not high, whereas though you might be more observant and aware. And a lot of people that smoke weed, they don't understand that your child is watching you. So you might feel that, okay, my kid knows I smoke weed, but it's normal. My kid sees me do this all the time. But kids will sit back and know how to manipulate the situation when you're high and when you're not high. They observe that. And this mother here wasn't paying attention when the child went into her purse and wasn't checking behind that. Like, you have a firearm, you have to be really aware, because the kid can go in there and point the gun at themselves and shoot themselves. So you got to have a lot of safety measures in place when you own a firearm. And also, when you own a firearm, you can't be in possession of the bud. You can't be smoking weed. And a lot of people do it. A lot of people want to get high all the time and then they have their gun, because they know that when you're smoking the weed, you might feel that this is a normal thing to you, so your body is functioning normal, but your thoughts are not the same when you smoke weed as from when you're sober. You might feel that I have everything under control when I smoke. It makes me better. It makes me more aware. No, it doesn't. It's a chemical that imbalances your brain. And you have to understand that. And in this situation, the mother wasn't paying attention when the kid went in the purse and he took it to school. That's why it's very important that you periodically check your kid's backpack. That's important. And I'm going to say this a little story about myself when I was young. When I was young, right, I smoked cigarettes. I smoked cigarettes from when I was 10 years old to 17. And my mom went in my book bag when I was 10 and found a pack of cigarettes. Now, I talked my way out of it and said I was holding it for somebody, so she let it go. And I don't know how that happened, but it happened. But she did randomly check my book bag. And it's important for you to check your child's book bag, because kids, not knowing that you're going to run through it, they'll put things in there. That's their safe bag. So you have to check the kid's book bag. And that was just a little something about myself. But in this situation here, the mother didn't check the kid's bag, and he went to school and he shot his teacher. And he shot her twice. And it could have killed her. And the mother had to bear the responsibility for that because she neglected the situation. She neglected to make sure that it was a safety feature on the gun where he couldn't use it. And he went to school and he fired it. He shot the teacher twice. He shot her in the chest and in the hand. And that physically damaged the teacher and also mentally damaged the teacher because the teacher doesn't want to work with kids no more. And all these different things that go on at these different schools where kids go in there and they take it to another level and they blow up and end up shooting the school up. That's like traumatizing to be the one to have to experience that. And then dealing with a first grader. The kid's 6 years old, so I'm sure he was in first grade. And now the mom has to bear that responsibility and spend 21 months in jail behind that. So it's important that you make sure that you check your kid's bag, and if you do have a firearm, that you use the right measures when you got kids living in your house. Because kids are curious. They will take it upon themselves when they watch you having the gun in your purse. And maybe sometimes parents at home that get to talking about, yeah, I got my gun and my gun's here. The kids hear that. Your kids are very observant when you're in the house. You're hollering on the phone. You're cussing somebody out. You're having a conversation with somebody. They listen to them things. And their brain is soaking those things up right there because they don't have responsibility to worry about. You have responsibility to worry about. So you're trying to focus on making sure you pay the bills and other things. So things will slip your mind. But the conversations that you have in the household with your kids, they remember that stuff in detail. That's like even when you have sex in the house with your kids, they hear the sex. They remember that stuff in detail because these are the things that are stuck in their mind. They don't have responsibilities to worry about to take their mind off to different places. They're going to school and then they're dealing with the things in the house. So those things are what's sponging the kid's brain up. And then most of the time, kids are in school during the day for 8 hours a day. So they learn a lot of things in school. And then people in school say certain things. And then you got things going on at home. So those are the things that they're balancing. But this mom wasn't paying attention and her son took the gun to school and fired the gun. It ended in a bad situation. It traumatized the teacher. And it's going to separate the mother from the son now for 21 months. She has to sit in the jail for 21 months. You know, and her son is probably going to be visiting her from a family member. But things happen amongst people. Everything that we go through happens amongst people. So you got to pay attention when you're around people and dealing with people. People will be your downfall, and people can pick you up sometimes. But you got to be real cautious. It could be your own children. It can be your brother, your sister, your aunt, your uncle, your mother. But the people closest to you, the people that you deal with the most, are where the things that you deal with in life come through first. People that don't know you, you're less likely to have situations with them because you don't encounter them. So you got to really monitor when you're dealing with people. And we get lost in that because we're so comfortable with being around the people, feeling like we know these people that we're around. But these are how first-hand situations happen from the people that you're around, not from people that you don't know. You know what I'm saying? People that you don't know, you won't have those kind of issues with them. You know what I'm saying? And the sad part about it is that the kid went there and shot that teacher. and he could have almost killed the teacher. That would have been like real messed up because she has a family as well, you know? And the mom now has to sit in jail for 21 months because of this situation, because she neglected to make sure that her firearm was in a safe situation, that it was out the way from her child getting to it. In these situations, we don't think about them while we're living through life. And when you smoke weed, I want to be honest with you, right? Smoking weed really distracts you. You think that it's making you better. You think that it's helping you. But smoking weed and alcohol are big distractions. And do you see that when you smoke weed and you drink alcohol and you make a mistake or something goes wrong with you under that influence, that's the first thing that they hold against you. So for something that takes you way out of your mind at the time, you have to be able to minimize the use of it from something that can take you way out of your mind, because you can get so high if you keep smoking and smoking and be really clouded in the brain. You can drink so much where you falling apart and you throwing up and you going through it. But these are the things that they legalize and people indulge in, thinking that they have control over. Because you get some people that drink and say, man, I know my limit. I know where I need to go. I don't drink this much. I only drink that. These are the devils of the earth. But they tell you that it's legal, so people feel that it's okay to do it. Anything that they say is legal, you feel that it's okay to do it because the world pronounced that legal. But if they take it away and say it's not legal, then it's like, oh, it's no good. It's no good no more. But these are the things that are taught to us. You know what I'm saying? And I want to read this article here with the mother of what they're saying, and and she feels remorse for the situation, but it's like when it gets to this point and you got to go to jail, even though you feel remorse, it's been a lot of damage in the situation. A lot of damage, But I'm gonna read this here, and it says this, and she's from Virginia, Newport News. This is where this happened at. The mother of a 6-year-old who shot his teacher in Virginia was sentenced Friday to 2 years in prison for felony child neglect, nearly a year after her son used her gun to critically wound the teacher. Friday's sentencing was the second time DEJA Taylor was held to account for the classroom shooting, which stunned the nation and shook the military shipbuilding city of Newport News. The state sentence she received Friday from Circuit Court Judge Christopher Papal was stiffer than what is called for in the state sentencing guidelines and harsher than a joint sentencing recommendation for 6 months prosecutors and Taylor's lawyers had agreed to in a plea deal. Now, this is what I want to say here. When you take a plea to something, and the prosecutor and your lawyer come together and try to make an agreement, that doesn't mean that the judge has to stick with that recommendation. That's only a recommendation that goes to the judge. The judge might feel that you need a harsher punishment. And in this situation, the judge felt like 6 months wasn't enough time. So when she took that plea, she was thinking to herself, man, I can do this 6 months. I'm only going to get 6 months. But she ended up getting 4 times that. So I'm sure She's sick about that. She didn't think that she was going to get 2 years. She thought she was going to get 6 months. So when you don't know the law and you going up against them people in there and you say, I'm going to let my lawyer and the prosecutor work it out, and then you thinking my lawyer got it under control, and you don't know anything, you didn't study anything, you didn't search for yourself, you didn't find any case laws, these people get paid for what they get paid for, but the judge has the final say so. So it's important that you study for yourself in your case. It's important that you research. Even if you don't know the law, when you're in a situation, it is very important for you to take it upon yourself to go study and research. That is very, very important. And you don't just wait on someone else to handle your life. Because in all honesty, they have a job to do, but you care about your life more than they do. They're just doing a job. You think about it like when you go to work. When it's time for you to clock out of work, you clocking out of work. You're not trying to do no extra. So they're thinking about when they get the job to a plea agreement, then it's over and done. That's their job. Not about if you get a good plea deal, did we reach an agreement on this situation to get it settled? That's what they're thinking. Okay? Now, Taylor was sentenced in November to 21 months in federal prison for using marijuana while owning a gun. People think that it's okay to have your gun on you and smoke weed. You got weed in the house, you got gun in the house. When something goes wrong in your household and the police come in your house and find the weed and the gun, your gun isn't legal anymore. You think your gun is legal, but it takes the legalness of your gun away because you possess a narcotic with a firearm when they knowing that you can't function the same when you're smoking weed. And honestly, it should be the same way for alcohol. They should, because weed and alcohol is running neck to neck. Alcohol is more severe than weed to me. What I think, and this is my opinion, but they don't use that because that's how they design the law. And you know, when they want things a certain way, they're going to play their game because it's their game that we're out here living in. So, which is, it said she got caught with using marijuana while owning a gun, which is illegal under U.S. law. The combination of her state and federal sentencing amounts to a total punishment of nearly 4 years behind bars. So, excuse me. She got time in the state also. And that's the thing that people have to understand. When you got certain charges, the state can pick them up and the feds can pick them up. And those would be two different sentences. If they want to stick it to you, two different people will pick the charges up and you got to do the sentences consecutive. And that's one after the other. They're not going to run your state and your federal charge at the same time. That's how things go. All right? So Taylor's son told authorities he got his mother's 9mm handgun by climbing onto a drawer to reach the top of a dresser where the firearm was in his mom's purse. He concealed the weapon in his backpack and then his pocket before shooting his teacher, Abby Zwerner, in front of her first grade class. So he pulled the gun out in front of all the kids, and that traumatized the kids too. 6-year-olds seeing their teacher get shot is traumatizing. You got to think about that because there's people out here that are adults seeing people get shot that are traumatized. So think about a kid that really has no knowledge. When they see these video games, that's like, oh, that's a video game. But for you to see this in person at your school, That's traumatizing. That's real deep. And it says Taylor initially told investigators she had secured her gun with a trigger lock, but investigators said they were never found. So she told them that she had a trigger lock, but they never found a trigger lock, and she had no receipts of it, so she couldn't prove that. All right. Taylor pleaded guilty earlier this year to the felony neglect charge. As part of the plea deal, local prosecutors agreed to drop a misdemeanor count of reckless storing a firearm. But they wanted to make sure that they got a felony out of her. So yeah, they dropped the misdemeanor to make sure that they get a felony out of her, right? Taylor also pleaded guilty to the federal marijuana and weapons charge. Investigators had found nearly an ounce of marijuana in Taylor's bedroom following the shooting. James Ellison, one of Taylor's attorneys, said earlier this year there were mitigating circumstances surrounding the situation, including Taylor's miscarriage and postpartum depression. She also has been diagnosed with schizoaffective disorder, a condition sharing symptoms with schizophrenia and bipolar disorder, according to court documents. Yeah, I'm sure that she would have some type of anxiety. Everybody has things they go through in life because everybody's dealing with life. But this can enhance the situation. Knowing you about to go to jail, your son shot the teacher, this can really enhance the situation in your life. And that's real, like, serious, you know? And she says, that is my son, so I am a parent, obviously willing to take responsibility for him because he can't take responsibility for himself, Taylor said. So your kids, you bear the responsibility for them. And when your kids are young, you got to stop trying to be their friend before you their parent. You be your child's friend when they turn 18. Don't worry about what your kid thinks about you by you being on top of them, by you disciplining them, because that's going to install a certain kind of fear where they will not do certain things. And that's the thing that kids now don't have. Kids do not have the sense of fear of getting their butt whipped by their parents. And the law says you can smack them on the butt. But kids do not have that fear because parents want to be their friend. You want to have them involved in all your business. It was a time when kids would go in the other room. You wouldn't have the kid in the same room. Now it's like the kids is in the same room with the adults, monitoring everything the adult does. So you wonder why the kid speaks to you the way he does, because they're watching everything you do. Just straight up. And they say, during her sentencing in federal court last month, one of Taylor's attorneys read aloud a brief statement in which Taylor said she would feel remorse for the rest of her life. I'm sure she would, but the lady didn't die, but she's going to feel remorse because it is a bad situation that the lady got shot, but thankful the lady didn't die because that would have been messed up. The bullet fired from Taylor's gun struck Zerner in the left hand and the upper left chest, breaking bones and puncturing the lung. The teacher rushed her and her other students into the hallway before collapsing in the school office. So the teacher first instinct was to get the other kids out of there, and then she collapsed. Wow. The 6-year-old who shot Zerner told a reading specialist who restrained him, "I shot that explosive dead." So it was a negative word, a 6-year-old saying something like that. And that's something that he's observing at home. That's real stuff. When a kid gets out there talking like that, that's something that he's listening to in the house. He feels comfortable enough to go out there and say that. And if you are in school and see other kids, you can tell the kids that are not hearing these type of things at home because they're shocked when they see the kids so actively willing to say these type of things. It starts at the house. All right? He said, I got my mom's gun last night, and according to the search warrant. Zerna told the judge during Taylor's federal sentence that she remembers losing consciousness while medics worked on her. I was not sure it would be my final moments on earth. The lady felt like that was going to be her last breath. She was shot. She passed out. She could remember passing out. But I know that had to be next level shocking to lose conscious, knowing that your body is shutting down and you could die at this moment. Wow. And Zorner spent nearly 2 weeks in the hospital and has endured 5 surgeries to restore motion in her left hand. She struggles to put on her clothes and tie shoes. She is suing Newport News Public School for $40 million, alleging administrators ignored multiple warnings the boy had a gun. She told the federal judge she has lost a sense of herself and suffers massive financial loss. Yeah, I mean, she's going to win the lawsuit because she was coming to work every day to teach the kids. It was told to somebody in the school that the kid possessed a gun and nobody did nothing about it. When you hear those type of things, you got to take those things serious. Even if it's not a gun, you got to take the proper measures, because if it is a gun, it could get real messy. Zorner no longer works for the school system and is no longer teaching. She says she loves children, but now is scared to work with them. She attends therapy and has been diagnosed with post-traumatic stress disorder while also suffering from depression and anxiety. I contend daily with deep emotional scars. So her life has been damaged behind that. She could have lost her life, man. All because somebody didn't make sure that their gun was safely stored. And you know what type of kid you have. If your kid is one of those kids that's into everything, you know that. You know if you got a kid that's a kid that doesn't listen and they're curious about doing things that they shouldn't do. You can't ignore that. And a lot of moms ignore that. Excuse me. Moms ignore that because they look at it like, oh, this is my baby. You gotta be on top of the kids, man. That's what teaches the kids the structure. Letting the kid say what they want, be who you feel they want to be, is not teaching the kid structure. You as the parent, you have to teach the kid structure so they can understand. And you have to be firm. Kids respect if they're going to get in trouble. If they know that I'm going to get away with something, they're not going to have respect. You can hope and wish, but they're not going to have respect. They're going to act like they got a certain respect maybe in your face, but then play with you, especially at that age, man. And it's sad that the mom has to take the fall and she has to go to jail for this. This is going to mess up, set her life back. The lady could have lost her life. The little boy, you don't know now, being as though that he took it to the extent to shoot a gun, excuse me, shoot a gun and shoot his teacher. You don't know what kind of mental he's going to have as an adult. That right there might take him, whereas though he feels that, excuse me, he has aggression to do that again later in life. Because he's going to remember that at 6 years old, he took things to another level. But hey, man, leave a comment. Let me know what you feel about this, man, and how you feel about it, man. Do you feel the mother should have went to jail for the situation? Do you feel that it was a sincere apology on the mother's behalf by she saying that she feels sorry for it and she's gonna hold guilt behind it and it's her responsibility? What do you feel about the teacher? How do you feel that she feels about this situation, going to work and getting shot? That's like in the battlefield. You go to work to teach kids and you on the battlefield. So let me know, man. Leave a comment about the situation, man. And let me know how you feel, man. And subscribe to the channel. Share this video, man. It's not about the setback. It's about the get back.